Today I'm going to show you how to make this little jingle bell ring. I was just playing around with my beads this morning and my bells and came up with this little design. It's fairly easy, it's pretty cute, and I thought I'd go ahead and show you how to make it. So let's look at what we need for this project today. Okay, so what you're going to need for this project today is some 4mm round beads. Actually, these are 4mm round metal beads, but you would be better off if you used 6/0 seed beads. Now, these are shaped, they have a white hole, and they're just almost the exact same size as a 6/0 seed bead, and they're shaped like a 6/0 seed bead. So don't worry about trying to find these 4mm round metal beads. If you have some, great. If you don't, then go ahead and use 6/0 seed beads. The edges of metal beads are usually a little sharp anyway, unless you get a really good quality. These are rounded and pretty nice on the inside, so I think I can get away with using them fine, and it worked fine on this one. It didn't cut my thread, and it's wearing fine. So anyway, use some 6/0 seed beads. And then you will need 4mm bicone crystals. I'm using two colors. I'm using green, emerald green in a Swarovski, and cyan ruby in also a Swarovski, and they're both 4mm bicone crystals. You will need 11/0 seed beads. I'm going to use two colors today. These are Tohos. This is a translucent green, and this one is a silver lined red. And then you will need a bell, of course. This bell is about 8mm. This bell is 10mm. So you can use them off slight sizes. You could probably go up to a 12 even, but I wouldn't go much bigger than a 12. And a 12 might be pushing it. So 8, 10mm, something like that. Even a 6 will probably work, though. It would be kind of small presence on your ring. So stay with 8 or 10, I would say. And you can get these at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, online, wherever. Just the regular little sleigh bell type jingle bell. Then you will need a size 10 or 12 beading needle and some 6 or 8 pound Fireline, or as I'm going to use, some 8 pound Nanofil. Put about a wingspan onto your needle of your thread, and let's go ahead and get started with this project. Okay, to start this project, we're going to pick up 4 6/0 seed beads. I'm going to call my little metal beads 6/0s because that's probably what everyone will be using, because I'm not sure that they're going to find these. And these are basically 6/0 seed beads. So pick up 4 of your 6/0s. Bring them to the end of the thread. And then sew back through all 4 beads from the tail side up, like so. Hold on to your tail and your beads and pull your thread through your beads. Bring them around into a circle, like so. And then go back through the beads one more time. So I'm going to go back through this one. I'm going to hold on to the tail while I do this because it will still slide through the beads. Then I'm going to just sew around all 4 of them again to make them secure. And then I will come back through the bead my tail is exiting from right here. And pull. Now, just because these like to slide around, I'm going to make sure this unit is tight, and I'm going to tie a knot right on this thread bridge right here. The reason I didn't tie it with the thread over here, you know, in the beginning, just tie them into a circle, is because they slip anyway. If you do that, you're just pulling your knot through your beads because these are big hole beads. So we're just going to put a knot right here on this little thread bridge. Just a half hitch, grab onto the thread bridge and pull a little knot down. That will stabilize, and pull your tail, that will stabilize the unit a little bit for us. Now I'm going to go down into the next bead. So you're coming out of one of the beads like this, and we're going to then put on our bell. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through the bottom of the bell, the little loop in the bottom, and bring it down to our unit. Now, let me get closer so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm coming out of this side, I went through my bell, I'm going to find the opposite bead in the unit and go into the same side that I'm exiting from the other bead. So I'm coming out here, I'm going to go in here. And I'm going to pull my bell down. Like so. Now I'm coming out of this bead on this side. I'm going to go back through the loop on my bell, right here, and pull my thread through. Now I want to find the bead I originally started in, right there. So I'm going to center just like this, and you can see my thread is coming out at this side over here going into the bell. I'm going to go into the opposite side here, and I'm going to pull it through and tighten it. I'm just turning my bell around so that I can hold on to it a little better. So this is what you have. Now we're just going to sew through all 4 beads again on the bottom. My dog is snoring. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's kind of loud. Then we're going to sew through all 4. So I'm going to continue sewing through them. Okay, so now I've made it all the way around with my tail. As you can see, I've just sewn around all 4. Now I'm coming out of this little base bead right here. I'm going to pick up another 6/0 seed bead, like so. I'm coming out of this bead. I'm going to go into the next bead. And I'm going to pull this bead between them tightly. Then I'm going to turn my unit, like so. And I am going to pick up another bead, like this, and I'm going to go into the next bead. Then we're going to do that again. You're coming out of this bead here. You're going to pick up another 6/0, and you're going to go into the next 6/0 and pull. Now we need to put one more in. We're coming out of this bead. We're going to pick up a 6/0, and we're going to go into the next bead. And just the next bead, just like so. Pull it tight, work it down in between the other beads. So what you should have is something that looks like this. And that's what you should have. Now, I'm coming out of this little bead in the base here. I'm going to go up into this bead right here. And I am going to begin making units of right angle weave to make my band. So I am going to pick up 3 6/0 seed beads. I'm coming out of this side of the 6/0. I'm going to go into the other side of the 6/0. And then I'm going to sew back through all of these beads again, just to make sure that they're nice and secure. So I'm just going to hold on to them and sew back through all 4 of those beads, or 3 and the one attached to the bell, so that's 4. And this project, it just wants to fall out of your hand, or at least mine, continually. I don't know if it's just an odd shape or what, but it just doesn't want to stay in the hand. So now you can see I have a unit of right angle weave attached to this bead right here. So I'm going to sew up to the top here, and I'm going to exit the furthest most bead that's sticking out of my unit here and pull my thread through. I'll turn it over and let you see which bead I'm coming out of. So there's the bead I'm coming out of, and I'm going to begin another unit of right angle weave. So I'll just pick this up, and I will pick up 3 more 6/0 seed beads. I'm coming out of this side, I'm going to go into this side and pull, and I'm just going to sew back around this entire unit. And we'll just continue making units until this strip that we're making of right angle weave will fit around a ring mandrel the size you want or around the finger you want. Let's go ahead and sew all the way around. And then once I've reached the bead I'm connected to, I'm going to sew up into the farthest bead. So I'll go in this side bead here, right there, and then I will go into this bead here. And I will start another unit of right angle weave. And you will continue making right angle weave units until you have the size you want. And like I said, you can place it around a ring mandrel, or you can just wrap it around your finger until it touches this bead here and fits comfortably around your finger. And my last one, I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I made 9 units and then attached it. So I'm going to go ahead and make 8 units, and on my 9th unit we'll attach here and we'll be back. So make however many units you need. I have a large hand, so 8 units is going to make a fairly large ring. If you have a smaller hand, like I said, you're going to have to judge the amount of units for yourself. Or, like I said, put it on a ring mandrel, one of the two. So I'm going to continue making my units until I have 8, and then we will be back. Okay, so I have made my 8 units. So you just count the little boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, you get the point. And since everybody's probably going to make different lengths according to the size they want, it doesn't really matter anyway, as long as you have the length you need. And you have sewn twice through each unit so that they're nice and neat and secure. You're going to come out of the top of the last unit you've made, and then you're going to join to this bead on this side of the bell. So you're going to pick up 1 6/0 seed bead onto your needle. Let's back off just a little. We're coming out here. We're going to go to the bead on the bell here, on the opposite side from the bead you're attached to here, and you're going to come out of the same side. You're going to come out of this side, and you're going to go into the same side here. So here. And bring the bead down, like so. Then you're going to pick up another 6/0 seed bead. I'm going to place this on my hand so you can see it a little better. So I'm attached, I'm coming out here, I've placed a bead here, come through here, attached by the bell. Now I need 1 more bead to make my unit complete. So I'm coming out here, I'm going to go into here on this bead, and I'm going to pull this unit up tight, like so. Then I'm going to sew around this entire unit again. So I'm coming out here, I'm going to sew here, here, into this one, and I'm just going to go all the way around till I come back up to the connecting bead on by the bell here. So now that secures this unit. And what we're going to do now is we're coming out of this bead here. Let me get a little bit closer. We're coming out of this bead here. We're going to sew down into the side bead on that unit here. Okay, so I've sewn around the unit until I'm coming out of this little side bead here. Now I am going to start putting 11 seed beads between each unit. So I'm going to pick up two 11 seed beads. I'm going to use red. You can use red or green or whatever color you want. You can do two of red, two of green, alternate your colors if you want, or just use one color. Today I'm just going to use the red. So I'm going to go from this bead to this bead and place the two 11 seed beads in between the 6 seed beads. So I'm going to pick up two more. I'm coming out here. I'm going to go into the next one. And I'm going to do this until I get all the way to the other side, this unit right here, and I will be back. Okay, so I have put my 11 seed beads all the way around on one side of my band until I am exiting the side bead of the connecting unit of right angle weave here. So this unit is connected to the base units here. And what I want to do now is I'm coming out of this bead. You can see my thread is kind of funny under my bell here. I must not have been real careful about the way I put it on. However, it's okay because our embellishments will cover that all up. Just be more careful with your thread than I was. So pick up an 11 seed bead. You're coming out of this bead here. You will pick up an 11 seed bead, a bicone crystal, and an 11 seed bead, like so. You're coming out here, you're going to slide into the bead that peaks in the unit underneath the bell here. Slide into there. And then you are going to pick up an 11 seed bead, a bicone crystal, and an 11 seed bead. And you're going to go into the unit here that you started in when you put your 11 in. So you're going to just go into that one bead. Avoid the 11 on the other side of it. Just go into that bead right there. Like so. And pull it down. Now you're coming out of this bead right here. You're going to sew into this bead and then into this bead so we can begin our embellishments this way, because otherwise we will cross our thread path and we don't want to do that. So now we're going to go into this bead here and pull. Then we're going to go into this little side bead right here. And here we will start going this way. So instead of starting with our 11 first, we'll start with our crystal embellishment right by the bell in our base units here. So we'll pick up an 11 seed bead, a green 4mm bicone, and 11 seed bead. Coming out of this little side bead here in the first unit that attaches to the base units, we are going to go into the bead that peeks out underneath the base units under the bell. So we're going to go into this one here, like so. Then turn it a little bit, pick up an 11 seed bead, a bicone crystal, and an 11 seed bead. And we're coming out of this bead here. We're going to go down into the side bead of the first unit that begins the band and pull. Okay, now I'm going to just turn it around like this, and I'm going to start putting two 11 seed beads between my 6 O's on my units here. Let me back off. So pick up two 11 seed beads. You're coming out of this bead, you're going to go into the next bead here. And you're going to do this all the way around the band again, just like you did on the other side. Two 11 seed beads, you're coming out of this bead, you're going to go into the next bead. Continue doing that till you get to the other side, and we'll be back. Okay, so I have gone all the way around with my 11 seed beads. I'm in my last unit here. So I am going to go from this 6-0 to this 6-0 with my 2 11 seed beads, and now I am coming out right where I put my embellishment on earlier. So what I'm going to do is I am going to slide through this 11 and this crystal and the 11 behind it, and then this 6-0. I'm just going to go through all of these beads. You can go through the 11 on the other side too. I'll show you. Through all these beads, I'm just sewing over till I get to this side, just to secure everything. Then I'm going to go through this crystal, this 11 and this 6-0 right here. And I'm going to put a little crystal embellishment on this unit. So I'm going to go down into this bead right here. So I have a full unit. I'm in the bottom bead of the full unit here. And then I'm going to pick up an 11 seed bead. I'm going to pick up a red bicone crystal. I think I'll use green 11 seed beads with the reds. So I'm going to pick up a red or a green 11 seed bead, a red bicone crystal, and a green 11 seed bead, like this. I'm coming out of this 6-0 here on this side. I'm going to go to the opposite bead in the opposite side and pull this embellishment over the top of the unit, just like this. And now I am in this little bead here. I want to sew into this one here. So the bead that I'm in, the one that it's attached to, right next to it, just go up into that one. Now it's a little difficult because these are the beads that we put beads between in our first step. So it's a little difficult to get through, especially if your beads have a lip on them like my metal beads do. Just come through that bead right there. Now, we have 3 beads on either side of the bell. These are the beads we're going to be working in. See, 1, 2, 3. Those are the 3 beads we want to work in. So now I am coming out of this side of this bead. I am going to pick up, I'm going to start with red. So I'm going to pick up 3 11 seed beads in the red. I'm going to use both my red and green in this. So I'm going to use red 11s, a green bicone, and 3 red 11s. So I'll show you on my needle what I have here. 3 11s, a bicone, and 3 11s. I'm coming out of this side of this little bead. I'm going to go into the opposite side and exit the side here. So I'm just going around the bead, just right through it like this. And I'm going to make a loop of beads around the bead, like this. And then I'm going to go into the next bead. So the next bead is this bead that peeks up right here. And the 3 that I showed you earlier, I'm going to go into that bead right there. And I'm going to pull my thread down, make sure my last embellishment is nice and neat and tight. And then I'm going to pick up green 11 seed beads, and I'm going to pick up 3 of them. And then a red bicone crystal, and then 3 green 11s, like this. I'm coming out of this side. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the same bead, like this. And I'm going to pull my needle through and loop these beads around that bead that I just have sewn through, like this. Now I'm going to go into the very next bead. So in the 3 beads I showed you, this bead right here, I am going to sew into it, pull my thread through, and then I'm going to begin another embellishment. I'm going to pick up 3 red 11s this time, and a green bicone crystal, and 3 red 11s. So I'm coming out of this side of this bead. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the bead, And you see where my bell was sewn on and it was kind of thready, you can't really see it anymore because we're covering it up. So if you didn't get it really neat like I didn't, don't worry about it too much because it will cover it up. Now we're coming out of the bead we just looped around. We're going to sew down into this bead, the bead in the unit that starts the band here. We're going to sew into this bead. Pull your thread down. Pick up an 11-0 seed bead. Let's see, what color did we do on the other side? We did green, red, green. So I'm going to pick up a green 11-0 seed bead, a red crystal, and a green 11-0. I'm coming out of this side of this bead in this first unit that starts my band. I'm going to go into the opposite bead in the opposite side of the bead, and I'm going to pull my crystal down over the top of this unit, like so. Just like that. Now I'm going to avoid these 11-0s. I'm going to sew back up into the 6-0 in the unit here. I am going to sew into this 6-0 here. I've got to turn myself around because my thread path is going the wrong way. But if I just skipped from this bead here straight up into this bead, it would pull everything funny. So I have to come into this top bead here, and then I will just grab a little half hitch knot on this thread bridge underneath it. So I will grab the thread bridge underneath. I will grab a half hitch knot, pull my knot down, and then I can go back into this bead that I was just exiting, and now I am the proper direction. Make sure my embellishment doesn't get all weird. There. Now I can go into this bead here, and exit. And now I can start with these 3 beads underneath the bell. I can start these embellishments. Okay, so now I am exiting this little bead right here, and the 3 right here underneath this bell is what we're going to work out of. So I'm going to pick up 3 green 11-0 seed beads, a red bicone crystal, come here you, and 3 green 11-0 seed beads, like this. I'm coming out of this side of this little bead right here. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the same bead I'm exiting from, and I am going to pull my beads down into a loop around that bead, like this. And then I'm going to go into the next bead, the one that kind of peeks out of our base units here. I'm going to go into it and exit it, and then I'm going to pick up 3 red 11-0 seed beads onto my needle, and a green bicone, and 3 11-0s. And I'm coming out of this side. I'm going to go back into the same bead in the opposite side and pull my loop down around that bead. And then I am going to sew into the very next bead right underneath the bell here. And pull my thread through. Make sure my previous embellishment is nice and tight and neat. And then I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, green this time, with a red bicone, and 3 11-0 seed beads. Like this. I'm coming out of this side of the bead. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the same bead and exit. And then you have a little wreath around your bell, like so. Now, I'm coming out of the bead that I just put this embellishment in. I'm going to sew down into the bead here. Then I'm going to avoid the embellishment 11-0 here and go into the base unit 6-0 here in the first unit that connects to my band here. The unit we put the little bicone crystal on top of. I'm going to pull my thread down through. Then I'm going to go into the 6-0 seed bead in the unit. Here. Then down into this 6-0 seed bead here. So I'm just sewing around the 6-0 seed beads. I'm just avoiding the 11-0s and sewing in my original thread path in the right angle weave in the 6-0 seed beads. Like so. And then here I'm going to grab a half hitch knot on my thread bridge, avoiding those 11-0s. I'm just going to knot it, and then I'm going to sew back down through a couple more beads right here. Now you can knot this off as many times as you want, but for the sake of the video length, I'm going to go ahead and cut mine off right here. And then I am going to bring that little tail down and put this on my finger. And this is what we just made. Let's back off a little bit. So we've got a nice little jingle bell ring. And this would be too big for this finger, but I'm going to put it on anyway. That's what these look like. Little jingle bells. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And go ahead and get yourself some jingle bells and make one. Have a fun doing it. Bye-bye.